7-11. Lu 19. 28-38. Joe 12. 12-15 Nisa 28. 16. 53. 3. PS 69. 8. 118. 22, 23 rejected but becomes chief cornerstone Mount 21. 42, 45, 46. Act 3. 14. 4. 11. 1 PE 2. 7 is 8. 14, 15 becomes stone of stumbling Lu 20. 17, 18. Row 9. 31-33 PS 41. 9. 109. 8 1 Apostle unfaithful, betrays him Mount 26. 47-50. Joe 13. 18, 26-30. Act 1. 16-20 Zek 11. 12 betrayed for 30 pieces of silver Mount 26. 15. 27. 3-10. Mr. 14. 10, 11 Zek 13. 7 disciples scatter Mount 26. 31, 56. Joe 16. 32 PS 2. 1, 2 Roman powers and leaders of Israel act together against anointed of Jehovah Mount 27. 1, 2. Mr. 15. 1, 15. Lu 23. 10-12. Act 4. 25-28 Isla 53. 8 tried and condemned Mount 26. 57-68. 27. 1, 2, 11-26. Joe 18. 12-14, 19-24, 28-40. 19. 1-16 PS 27. 12 Use of false witnesses Mount 26. 59-61. Mr. 14. 56-59 Issa 53. 7 Silent before accusers Mount 27. 12-14. Mr. 14. 61. 15. 4, 5. Lu 23. 9 PS 69. 4 Hated without cause Lu 23. 13-25. Joe 15. 24, 25 Issa 50. 6. Mick 5. 1 Struck, spit on Mount 26. 67. 27. 26, 30. Joe 19. 3 PS 22. 16. FTN impaled Mount 27. 35. Mr. 15. 24, 25. Lu 23. 33. Joe 19. 18, 23. 20. 25, 27 PS 22. 18 lots cast for garments Mount 27. 35. Joe 19. 23, 24 Isla 53. 12 numbered with sinners Mount 26. 55, 56. 27. 38. Lu 22. 37 PS 22. 7, 8 reviled while on stake Mount 27. 39-43. Mr. 15. 29-32 PS 69. 21 Given vinegar and gall Mount 27. 34, 48. Mr. 15. 23, 36 PS 22. 1 Forsaken by God to enemies Mount 27. 46. Mr. 15. 34 PS 34. 20. X 12. 46 No bones broken Joe 19. 33, 36 Isla 53. 5. Zek 12. 10 pierced Mount 27. 49. Joe 19. 34, 37. Re 1. 7 Isla 53. 5, 8, 11, 12 dies sacrificial death to carry away sins and open way to righteous standing with God. Mount 20. 28. Joe 1. 29. Row 3. 24. 4. 25. 1 Co 15. 3. Hob 9. 12-15. 1 PE 2. 24. 1 Joe 2. 2 Isla 53. 9 Buried with the Rich. Mount 27. 57-60. Joe 19. 38-42 John 1. 17. 2. 10 In grave parts of 3 days, then resurrected. Mount 12. 39, 40. 16. 21. 17. 23. 27. 64. 28. 1-7. Act 10. 40. 1 Co 15. 3-8 PS 16. 8-11, FTN raised before corruption. Act 2. 25-31. 13. 34-37 PS 2. 7 Jehovah declares him his son by spirit begetting and by resurrection. Mount 3. 16, 17. Mr. 1. 9-11. Lu 3. 21, 22. Act 13. 33. Row 1. 4. Head 1. 5. 5. 5. Messiah 388 Woman by the well also thought the Messiah would be a prophet. Joe 4. 19, 25, 29 People expected the Messiah to perform signs. Joe 7. 31. Some variety in beliefs. It is evident that even though knowledge about the coming Messiah was common among the Jews, not all persons had the same knowledge or understanding about that one. For instance, though many knew that he would come from Bethlehem, some did not. Mount 2. 3-6. Joe 7. 27 Some believed the prophet to be separate from the Christ. Joe 1. 20, 21. 7. 40, 41 Certain prophecies about the Messiah were not understood, even by Jesus' disciples. It was particularly true about those prophecies dealing with the Messiah's rejection, suffering, death, and resurrection. Isla 53. 3, 5, 12. PS 16. 10. Mount 16. 21-23. 17. 22, 23. Lu 24. 21. Joe 12. 34. 20. 9 Yet once these things had taken place and the prophecies had been explained, his disciples and even ones who were not yet disciples began to appreciate the prophetic nature of these texts in the Hebrew Scriptures. Lu 24. 45, 46. Act 2. 5, 27, 28, 31, 36, 37. 8. 30-35 Since the fact that the Messiah had to suffer and die was not recognized by most Jews, this point was stressed by early Christians when preaching to Jews. Act 3. 18. 17. 1-3. 26. 21-23. Wrong expectations. Luke's account indicates that many Jews were anxiously expecting the Messiah to appear at the particular time Jesus was on earth. Simeon and other Jews were waiting for Israel's consolation and Jerusalem's deliverance when the babe Jesus was brought to the temple. Luke 2. 25, 38 During the ministry of John the Baptizer, the people were in expectation about the Christ, or Messiah. Luke 3. 15 Many, though, expected the Messiah to meet their preconceived notions. The prophecies in the Hebrew Scriptures showed the Messiah as coming in 2 different roles. One was humble, and riding upon an ass, whereas the other was with the clouds of the heavens to annihilate opposers and have all rulerships serve him. Zech 9. 9. Jar 7. 13 The Jews failed to appreciate the fact that these prophecies related to 2 distinct appearances of the Messiah, these appearances occurring at widely separated times. Jewish sources agree with Luke 2:38 that the people at that time were waiting for Jerusalem's deliverance. The Jewish Encyclopedia observes, they yearned for the promised deliverer of the house of David, who would free them from the yoke of the hated foreign usurper, would put an end to the impious Roman rule, and would establish his own reign of peace. 1976, Volume 8, p. 508. They tried to make him an earthly king. Joe 6:15. When he would not fulfill their expectations, they rejected him. Evidently the expectation that the Messiah would be an earthly king was shared by John the Baptist and his disciples. John knew Jesus to be the Messiah and the Son of God, having seen him anointed with Holy Spirit, and having heard God's voice of approval. John did not lack faith. Mount 11:11. So his question, are we to expect a different one? May have meant, are we to expect yet another one who will fulfill all the hopes of the Jews? Christ in reply pointed to the works he was doing, which things had been foretold in the Hebrew Scriptures. He concluded, and happy is he who has not stumbled over me. This answer, while implying that faith and discernment would be needed, would satisfy and comfort John, assuring him that Jesus was the one who would fulfill God's promises. Mount 11:3. Luke 7:18-23. Also, prior to his ascension, Jesus' disciples held the view that he would at that time deliver Israel from Gentile domination and set up the kingdom, restore the reign of the Davidic line on earth. Luke 24:21. Act 1:6. False messiahs. After Jesus' death, the Jews followed many false messiahs, as Jesus had foretold. Mount 24:5. From Josephus it appears that in the 1st century before the destruction of the temple in 70 CE, text acute miritra longo, Medushal 389 lists 28 false messiahs between the years 132 CE and 1744 CE. Volume X, pages 252-255. Jesus was accepted as the Messiah. The historical evidence found in the Gospels demonstrates that Jesus was indeed the Messiah. Persons in the 1st century, who were in position to question the witnesses and examine the evidence, accepted the historical information as authentic. They were so sure of its accuracy that they were willing to endure persecution and die on behalf of their faith based on that assured information. The historical gospel records show that various individuals openly acknowledged that Jesus was the Christ, or Messiah. Mount 16:16. Joe 1:41, 45, 49. 11:27. Jesus did not say they were incorrect, and on occasion he admitted being the Christ. Mount 16:17. Joe 4:25, 26. Sometimes Jesus would not say pointedly that he was the Messiah. At times he directed others not to publicize it. Mr. 8:29, 30. 9. Joe 10:24, 25. Since Jesus was present where people could hear him and see his works, he wanted them to believe on the solid basis of this evidence, so that their faith would be founded on their own eyewitness view of the fulfillment of the Hebrew Scriptures. Joe 5:36. 10:24, 25. Compare Joe 4:41, 42. Now the gospel record of what Jesus was and did has been provided along with the Hebrew Scriptures, which supplied abundant information about what he would do, so that individuals may know and believe that Jesus is indeed the Messiah. Joe 20:31. See Jesus Christ. Metals. More than 75% of the more than 100 elements known to man are metals. Gold, silver, copper, iron, and lead are all mentioned specifically in the Scriptures. The first biblical references to metals are in Genesis 2:11 and 4:22. In physical properties, metals are opaque, fusible, and ductile. They have a metallic luster and are usually good conductors of heat and electricity. Chemically and physically, the metals have certain distinguishing characteristics. For specific information and the scriptural occurrences, see the above-mentioned metals under their individual names. Also the heading refine, refiner, metal worker, One who casts, hammers, carves, engraves, or otherwise works with metals. Isra 41. 7. The first forger of every sort of tool of copper and iron in recorded history was Tubal-Cain. GE 4. 22. Ancient metal workers made tools, household items, weapons, armor, musical instruments, ornaments, and figurines. Besides fashioning new items, they also did repair work. 2ch 24. 12. Many were specialists in working such metals as gold Ne 3. 8, 31, 32, silver JG 17. 4. Act 19. 24, or copper 2T4. 14. At times they formed a kind of association or guild. Ne 3. 31. Act 19. 24-28. Their trade called for skill in artistic design. The Israelites may have had knowledge of metalworking prior to their entry into Egypt, or possibly they acquired it there. By the time of the Exodus, they had ability to fashion a molten calf and a copper serpent. X 32. 4. New 21. 9. More impressive, however, was the production of various metal items for the tabernacle service. Bezalel and his assistants were aided by Jehovah's Spirit in their metalworking. X 31. 2, 3. 35. 30-35. Later, when oppressed by the Philistines, the Israelites were not allowed to have their own metal workers. This measure prevented them from making weapons. 1 13. 19-22. Doubtless for similar reasons Nebuchadnezzar took the metal workers and other craftsmen captive the first time he assaulted Jerusalem. 2 Chi 24. 14, 16. J 24. 1. 29. 1, 2. Methegama meth for example in Ma bridle of Amma possibly, Cubit. A place taken from the Philistines by King David. 2 8. 1. Since no site by that name is known, Methegama may well be a figurative term designating one of the principal Philistine cities. The parallel passage at 1 Chronicles 18. 1 says, Gath and its dependent towns. At 2 Samuel 8. 1. The American Standard Version evidently o textoi acute muritra longo, munim 390 munim me middle dot unim. On the basis of the name, the Munim are considered to have been an Arabian people residing in and around Maran, a city about 32 kilometers 20 miles of Petra. Judean King Uzziah 829-778 BCE with Jehovah's help, successfully warred against the Munim. 2 Ch 26. 1, 7. Perhaps at that time some of the Munim captives were constituted temple slaves, and therefore, their descendants are later listed among the Nethinim returning from Babylonian exile. As 2. 1, 2, 43, 50. Ne 7. 52. Compare PS 68. 18. During Hezekiah's reign 745-717 BCE a band of Simeonites struck down the Hamites and the Munim in the vicinity of Dor. 1 Ch 4. 24, 39-41. Seamonim. Mezahab Mesa middle dot had waters of gold. Parent of Matred and ancestor perhaps, ancestress of Mehetabel, the wife of Hadad, the last named of the kings of Edom. GE 36. 31, 39. 1 Ch 1. 50. Mezabate me middle dot Zoba middle dot ite of belonging to Zoba. A term alluding to the home of Jaziel. 1 Ch 11. 47. Mezuazlami middle dot Zuza. Anglicized form of the Hebrew word used in the Bible generally to designate a door or jam or doorpost. Mezu middle dot za and the plural mezu middle dot zot appear at Exodus 12. 7 FTN, 22, 23, with reference to the sprinkling of the Passover victims' blood on doorposts, and at Exodus 21. 6, regarding a slave who, desiring to remain in his master's service, was brought up against the door or the doorpost and had his master pierce his ear with an awl. References are also made to doorposts of the temple constructed by Solomon 1 6. 31, 33. 7. 5 and of the symbolic temple Ezekiel saw in vision. Es 41. 21. 45. 19. 46. 2. In modern times the anglicized term mezuzah is used to denote a rectangular piece of parchment containing the Hebrew text of Deuteronomy 6. 4-9 and Deuteronomy 11. 13-21, generally written in 22 lines. The parchment is rolled up and placed in a wooden, metal, or glass case that is affixed in a slanting position on the right-hand doorpost of Orthodox Jewish dwellings, the upper part pointing inward and the lower part outward. The Hebrew word shad di meaning Almighty is written on the back of this parchment and is frequently visible through a glass-covered opening in the container. Sometimes the mezuzah case is artistically decorated. When pious Orthodox Jews enter or leave a house, they touch the mezuzah with the hand and recite the prayer, "May God keep my going out and my coming in from now on and evermore." Compare PS 121. 8. The use of the mezuzah is based on a literal interpretation of the command at Deuteronomy 6. 9 ftn and 11. 20. Mib, from a root that means choose. Son of Hagri. One of the mighty men of David's military forces. 1 ch 11. 26, 38. Some have suggested that there is a discrepancy in the text at 1 Chronicles 11. 38 because Bani the Gadite, not Mibah, is mentioned in a parallel list at 2 Samuel 23. 36. They hold that Mibah is an alteration of the Hebrew for from Zoba and that the final words of 1 Chronicles 11. 38 resulted, because of reading Ben-Hamidl.Rea son of Hagri for Ba-Middle.Enohag-Middle.Gad to Bani the Gadite. This remains conjectural. Mibsam perfumed. Balsam oil. Spicy. 1. One of the sons of Ishmael and founder of a family. GE 25. 13. 1 ch 1. 29. 2. A descendant of Simeon. 1 ch 4. 24, 25. Mibzar possibly meaning fortification. One of the sheiks of Edom, or Esau. The name Mibzar perhaps also came to apply both to his descendants and the place they settled. GE 36. 40, 42. 1 ch 1. 53. Micah shortened form of Michael or Micaiah. The English names Micah and Micah have resulted from a minor difference in the Hebrew spelling. 1. Son of Mephibosheth Nerib-Baal and grandson of King Saul's son Jonathan. Micah, also called Micah, was the father of Pithan, Melech, Tereatariah, and Ahaz. 2 Sa 9. 12. 1 ch 8. 33-35. 9. 39-41. 2. One of the Levites or the forefather of one attesting by Silo Textoi Acute Muritra Longo, Micah, Book of 391 Smith, who made a carved image and a molten statue that afterward came to be in Micah's house. Micah, who had a house of gods, made an ephod and teraphim and empowered one of his sons to act as priest for him. Although this arrangement was ostensibly to honor Jehovah, it was grossly improper, for it violated the commandment forbidding idolatry x 20. 4-6 and bypassed Jehovah's tabernacle and his priesthood. JG 17. 1-6. A 12. 1-14 later, Micah took Jonathan, a descendant of Maz's son Gershom, into his home, hiring this young Levite as his priest. JG 18. 4-30 Mistakenly feeling satisfied with this, Micah said,